but maybe I think Hanne wrote me, and Camila Riz can present the DNB, the Danish Bibliographic Agency presentation. So I think if everyone, I ask you to stay here for 10 more minutes. I'm sorry. Maybe we can see the presentation and then have a little discussion time to answer all the questions that were raised before. Okay. So Camila, when you want.
Yeah, sure. I hope you can hear me, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, that's great. I'll try to share my screen so you can see the presentation, and I hope it works this time. Just a moment. I hope you see my screen now.
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, that's great. Good to hear. But hello, everybody. My name is Camilla Riis Petersen, and I'm a bibliographic consultant and librarian at DBC. And due to Hanne's technical issues, I'll take over the presentation of RDA in Denmark 2021. As I'm still pretty new to this position, I hope you will bear with me. I asked my colleague Line Jung Lindhardt to answer what questions you may have regarding the presentation. First of all, a brief summary of the situation in Denmark. A switch to RDA in Denmark will means that all the libraries have to switch at the same time, because we are closely working together in the National Union Catalog. That is both the National Bibliography, the National Library, and the public and research libraries. RDA was decided as the future cataloging standard in Denmark in 2016 by the authorities. And a Danish profile was then drawn up closely connected to the original text. And that is no translating of RDA was intended. But due to financial issues, RDA hasn't been implemented so far. Just a moment. And meanwhile, RDA 3R came along. The Danish catalogers are not well trained in cataloging during their education. The job as a cataloger is often a part-time task. Training is from colleague to colleague, and we're not that many experts. And Danish catalogers as a whole would never have the time to examine the guidelines in RDA carefully, get beyond the theoretical level, translated or not, or use RDA as a practical tool in order to find exact instruction on what to do. For instance, they will never dream looking up the phrase aggregator agent off. The Danish Bibliographic Council stated that a more pragmatic approach was necessary. So in order to implement RDA, we'll only implement the rules when the change will add value to the users of our current catalog compared to current practice, and when in order to promote a shift in the data model from a full bibliographic record to a relationship model, for a bibliographic record related to authority records, provide instructions for entities without current instruction. Now we only have instruction on how to choose and form a personal name, but in RDA also are added further information on gender, nationality, biographical information, etc. So what to do? Well, a Danish RDA handbook is recommended. It will probably consist of guidelines on defining work according to Danish tradition, choosing the access points for different kinds of works, and how to handling type of aggregates in a Danish context, etc. And also how to describe the entity's work in persons and corporate bodies in Denmark, and how to relate the entities, directly referring to RDA rules and building a national repository of authority data. And it will also recommend use of our current rules on describing manifestations with a few necessary moderations from RDA. We will we'll probably end up having something within the limits of RDA, but the rules will be concrete and easier to work with in a MARC environment. And how to do that? Now we're going to analyze different things. We have to outline the content of a Danish RDA handbook and the consequences for the Danish format and other bibliographic standards. The implications of these conditions for implementation in the national infrastructure, and how to interact with local library catalogs. And we also need a roadmap and price for implementation in national infrastructure, including options where possible. And final decision is expected, we hope, in the middle of 2022. And that was all for me for now. Don't hold back if you have any questions. My colleague Line will answer them in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Camila, for this
You're welcome.
unexpected presentation.
Yes, surely, very unexpected.